जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। जमुना तीरा वनचारी। जमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। जमुना तीरा वनचारी। जमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवचकाचार्य स्तोत्र सदस्य श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री लयसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड श्री राधा कुंड श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की। ब्रज भूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की। मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की। गंगा मैया जमुना मैया की। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की। समवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirahe Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3rd, Chapter 1, Text 7. Yada Sabhayam Guru Deva Deva Kesharabhimarsam Sutta Karma Gharyam Na Varayam Asha Nripa Srushya Svaisrer Arantya Kucha Kunkumani Yada Sabhayam Kuru Deva Deva Keshar Bhimarsha Sutta Karma Gharyam Navaryam Asandripa Shunasya Swasver Harantya Kucha Kunkumani Sada Sambhayam Kuru Deva Deva Keshabhiramsa Sutta Karma Grayam Navaryam Asha Nripa Sunasya Swasver Harantya Kucha Kumkumani Yada Sabhayam Kuru Deva Deva Keshabhiramsa Sutta Karma Gharyam Navaryam Asandripa Sunasya Swasyer Harantya Kucha Kumkumani Mataji's Yada, when, Sabhyam, the assembly, Kuru Deva Devaya, of Draupadi, the wife of godly Yudhisthira, Kesha Abhimarsam, insult by grabbing her hair, Sutta Karma, action taken by his son, Gharyam, which was abominable, Na, did not, Varayam Asha, forbid, Nripa, the king, Snusayaha, of his daughter-in-law, Shwasher, by her tears, Harantyaha, of he who was washing, Kucha Kumkumani, red dust on her breast. Translation. The king did not forbid his son Dushasan's abominable action of grabbing the hair of Draupadi, the wife of the godly king Yudhisthira, even though her tears washed the red dust on her breast. Text 8. Translation. Yudhisthira was born without any enemy, was unfairly defeated in gambling. But because he had taken the vow of truthfulness, he went off to the forest. When he came back in due course and begged the return of his rightful share of the kingdom, he was refused by Dhritarashtra, who was overwhelmed by illusion. Purport. By His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Yudhisthira was the rightful heir to his father's kingdom. But just to favor his own sons, headed by Duryodhan, Dhritarashtra, Maharaj Yudhishthira's uncle, adopted various unfair means to cheat his nephews of their rightful share of the kingdom. At last, the Pandavas demanded only 5 villages, one for each of the 5 brothers, but that was also refused by the usurpers. This incident led to the war of Kurukshetra. The battle of Kurukshetra, therefore, was induced by the Kurus and not the Pandavas. As Kshatriyas, the proper livelihood of the Pandavas was only to rule and not to accept any other occupation. A Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya will not accept employment for his livelihood under any circumstances. Om Agyan Timirandhasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yeda Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvise Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Ndu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome for this Sunday feast program in this holy month of Kartik. Are all of you very happy to be here? It's a very auspicious month of Kartik, and it is a divine month which is blessed by the Supreme Divine Mother, Srimati Radharani, the Supreme goddess who is the sole proprietor of all devotional service, is a month for all of us to pray to her lotus feet to bless us in our service to Shri Guru and the Vaishnavas. Very special month. And in this special month, we have the great fortune of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, which was originally spoken by Shukadev Goswami, who was the dear parrot of Srimati Radharani. Shuka, he was the dear parrot who directly heard from Srimati Radharani. So, very auspicious, everything very auspicious. So, today we are reading, we have just began the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The third canto is entitled The Status Quo. The whole canto is entitled Status Quo, and this is a chapter which is questions by Vidura. And what is happening here is, as we move forward, we will be having a very interesting and a long conversation between Vidura and Maitreya. A good portion of Bhagavatam is a discussion between Vidura and Maitreya. So it is explained, Machchita madagada prana bodhyantascha parasparam kathyantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Krishna is explaining that what is the activities of devotees. What do they do when they meet? Machchita madagada prana bodhyantascha parasparam. When devotees, two or more, meet, bodhyantascha parasparam, they talk about me. Bodh karna. Bodh karna means to talk. Bodhyantascha parasparam. Kathyantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. And the outcome of this discussion between devotees about Krishna in the center, it gives rise to tushyanti, complete satisfaction, ramanti, and complete bliss. It gives rise to two of the things that we are all eternally wanting to achieve in our life: satisfaction and bliss. But this is only possible if Krishna is the center of the discussion. So if you see, whenever two people meet, there's always discussion, right? Or maybe more than two people. There's always a discussion. But always the result is not tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Right? It is so many times frustration, disgust, fight, competition. Because the subject matter is very important of what you discuss. Two people coming together is not important. Them discussing is not important. So I was just analyzing that whenever two or more people meet, there is 4 different types of dialogues that will take place. 4 different types. One is called a dialogue. The first is called a dialogue. The very purpose of dialogue, it is two-way. It is a two-way conversation. It's a dialogue. It is not a monologue. It is a dialogue, two-way communication, and the purpose is to exchange information and build a relationship. Two people can come together. There is a dialogue, and the purpose is to exchange information, and through that build relationships. And then there is something what's called discourse. The second type of conversation is discourse. This is a one-way it's communication. Discourse, where one person speaks and one or many will hear what we are doing right now. It's a discourse. So it's a one-way communication which is in the mood of cooperation, which we want to deliver information. That's a discourse. So first is dialogue, second is discourse, the third is debate. Now debate is also two-way, like a dialogue. But what is the difference between a debate and a dialogue? The debate is competitive. The first one is cooperative, because we are cooperating together to discuss something and bring out a point and increase relationships. But a debate is two-way, or maybe many ways, but minimum two ways. But the purpose is competition. And the purpose is to win and to convince and to win. That what I am saying is right. Right? And the fourth way is diatribe. Diatribe is one way of communicating your emotions. You're saying that what I'm saying is right. It is a one-way thing. But the point I want to focus on right now is between dialogue and a debate. Many times when two or more people come together, the whole idea behind them coming together may not be spelled very clearly, but the internal purpose is, I want to prove my point as right. So many times I go on my morning walks, and morning walks is a time, obviously you want to chant Hare Krishna, but the people, there's a group of people walking and they talk all crap. Sometimes you don't want to hear, but you have to hear, right? You can't close your ears. And, अरे मैं तेरे बोलता हूँ ना, ये बराबर है, ऐसा करना चाहिए. अरे नहीं रे, ऐसा नहीं, ऐसा करना चाहिए. This is not the way you do it. This is the way you should do it. So what is happening? One person is trying to prove that what I am saying is right, and other person says, no, what you are saying is not right. What I am saying is right. You heard of this? I'm sure all of you have really seen this happening in trains and everywhere. When people come together, the whole idea is not cooperative discussion that, okay, let's sit and understand. The whole idea is competitive debate type of discussion where nothing good comes out. But you see the contrary. In spiritual circles, if you see Bhagavatam, there are so many beautiful dialogues and discussions between two or more personalities, and what comes out is pure nectar. It is churning which happens when the mood is to bring out nectar. One person speaks, the other person speaks. One person speaks. So what is this thing happening? Exactly. One person speaking. But when people are debating, I'm not, poison comes out. Nothing good, nothing constructive, nothing useful, nothing to learn. Right? So very important to see, and I was analyzing that how our scriptures are actually filled with so many discussions between two people, and based on the discussions, it gave rise to such nectar which is relished since time immemorial and is going to be relished forever. Can you imagine the power of these discussions between these two personalities? So Bhagavatam, just to get some sort of a perspective, Bhagavatam is all about various layers of conversations and discussions. So it is explained, the first 5 verses of the Bhagavatam is, guess who two people are discussing? Anybody? The first 5 verses is a discussion between Narad Muni and Vyasadeva. Right? That why am I not satisfied? I have done everything that is required to be done. I've written all the scriptures. I've written the 18 Puranas, the Ityasas, the Mahabharata, the Vedanta Sutra, everything I've written. But my dear Lord, I'm not satisfied. This is cooperative discussion. Please tell me, why am I not satisfied? And Narad Muni says, you know what? Why you're not satisfied is because you are not written about Krishna. You are not written about pure devotional service. You are written about just artha, karma, dharma and moksha. The 4 sub-religious principles is what you have addressed till now. And obviously they'll not give you complete satisfaction. What will give you complete satisfaction is when you address the pure discussions about the pure Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. That's a wonderful. So first discussion is between Vedvyas and Narad Muni. And then of course, we have the discussion between Suta Goswami and the sages of Naimisaranya. Right? So the dialogue is between Suta Goswami and sages of Naimisaranya. It goes on, just for your knowledge, it goes on from the first canto, first chapter, verse number 6, 1.1.6 till 12th canto, 13th chapter, verse number 23. So you can see a good portion of a discussion which is in Bhagavatam, which is nothing but Suta Goswami quoting what he had heard from Shukadev Goswami, what he told to Parikshit Maharaj. But the Bhagavatam is all about the discussion, practically from the first canto till the 12th canto. A good, practically a major chunk of the discussion is between Suta Goswami and the sages of Naimisaranya. Again, all of them had assembled for a cooperative, inspirational discussion on Krishna. That's why it was a dialogue between many people, and what came out was nectar. And the third communication, so first was Narad Muni and Vedvyas conversation. Second is Suta Goswami and sages of Naimisaranya. The third is, of course, Sukadev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit, the main core of Bhagavatam. What actually Bhagavatam is nothing but Sukadev Goswami sharing with Parikshit Maharaj in 7 days. So this dialogue starts from the, which is of course quoted by Suta Goswami. It starts of course from the second canto, it goes up till of course 12th canto. But in between, Sukadev Goswami takes various other conversations which happened in the past and quotes them. Now please understand, why are we doing all this discussion? The whole idea is to convince us, all of us, that when next we come with devotees, we should understand the power of discussion of Krishna Katha. Because that's what exactly these people did. So this chapter that we are talking about very soon, we are going to be discussing for many, many chapters, the discussion between Vidura and Maitreya. Maitreya told Dhritarashtra, please give back the kingdom. Dhritarashtra said, get out. And Duryodhana kicked Vidura out. Vidura said, well, it's the right time for me to leave. You know, when somebody is not respecting you, don't hang around there. Don't be attached to your seat. The time comes, you should walk out. Vidura did exactly that. He walked out, went to the holy places, and then, you know, he had a beautiful, deep discussion with Maitreya Rishi, which starts from the 3rd canto, 4th chapter, and it goes up till almost the 4th canto, 31st chapter, where they discuss about various topics about the universe, the various other topics which are covered in the 3rd and the 4th canto. And then there's also a discussion between Narad Muni and Maharaj Yudhisthira in the later cantos, where Yudhisthira Maharaj is asking questions and Narad Muni is sharing various knowledge. And then there's discussion between Narada and Vasudeva, the father of Krishna, in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam. And the last is Krishna's discussion with Uddhav. Right? So we had such beautiful examples of 2 or more great personalities coming together and discussing. It was so very important, so very nectarine, so very revolutionary that it found itself in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, this discussion. Why? Because the very purpose of these 2 or more personalities was to understand the essence, the purpose of life. And that is why, because of the sincere desire of these 2 personalities, what manifested was Krishna in that discussion, And that is why we have the Bhagavatam. So that's how important it is, to really understand the value of Matchita Madhagada Prana Bodhantascha Parasparam. Because Krishna is manifest in such a dialogue. But at the same time, Gramya Kathana Shunibe, Gramya Kathana Kohibe. When you are indulging in place where there is Gramya Katha going on, when you are indulging yourself in Gramya Katha means the discussions which are not related to Krishna. Gramya means which is not which is about the world in general, the general worldly discussions, politics, stock markets and other things, which may be relevant if that is your profession to some extent, but otherwise these discussions are of no value, does not help you in your growth of your spiritual life. It does not help you to nourish your spiritual life. In fact, not only it does not help you in nourishing your spiritual life, but it actually saps your enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. So he said, Gramya Katha na shunibe, Gramya Katha na koibe. Raghunath Das Goswami says that you should not indulge in Gramya Katha. Asatsanga Tyaga yahi Vaishnava Achar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. That who is a Vaishnava? A person who rejects non-devotee association, because we know very well that in non-devotee association, there's nothing which is useful which is going to be discussed. It's only going to be discussing about sense gratification, how I scratch my back and you scratch, I scratch yours and you scratch mine. Mutual sense gratification, that's the only subject matter of discussion. As of no value. That is why Prabhu's, whether you take Chaitanya Charitamrita, whether you take Srimad Bhagavatam, or for that matter the whole Bhagavad Gita, what is the Gita all about? It's discussion between two personalities. One person is desperately wanting to learn, other person is very munificently wanting to teach. When there's a potential of receiving knowledge, knowledge flows down. There has to be a potential gradient, right? We understand physics. That when something flows from top to down, there has to be a gradient. If it's on the same level, it doesn't flow, right? Like water, you have a overhead tank in societies, right? Because from tank, it flows down. Water comes down. Similarly, when there is a need for somebody to learn, there's always going to be somebody who wants to teach. And when there is this potential gradient of receiving knowledge, knowledge flows down. And through that knowledge which flows down, not only is the person benefited, but for the rest of generations will be benefited. What is in the modern context, Prabhupada's morning walks. They're so inspirational, right? Prabhupada is walking and he giving his wisdom. Prabhupada is walking in morning walks and he asked, so which is the most beautiful animal? Prabhupada is just walking. He's in London. And which is the most beautiful animal? Any answers? What is the answer? Most beautiful animal? Everybody devotee said cow, cow, cow. Prabhupada said, what cow? Cow is not the most beautiful. Cow is the most worshipable. But cow is not the most beautiful. He said the horse, as Prabhuji mentioned, is the most beautiful. How regally he walks. And because in UK you have a lot of horse stables and you see horses, huge, beautiful, well-taken horses. So Prabhupada was, just giving it. And Prabhupada was walking and he saw, bird droppings in one place, constant bird droppings. And Prabhupada is walking and he says, you know what this is? Even the birds are attached to their nest. They come at the same place and do bird dropping. So, simple things, but what I'm trying to say is, when there's Krishna the center of discussion, the nectar is there. And the nectar will give us eternal life, knowledge. Not just knowledge, but realized knowledge. Knowledge is not necessarily useful. But realized knowledge is what gives us devotional understanding. So, Bhagavatam is all about this beautiful discussion. So let us really understand the value of this beautiful, very important verse. And when we come together, let us not be the source of producing poison, but let us be the source of producing nectar in the form of Krishna Katha. But the tendency of the tongue is, just wants to pick all garbage, right? And it so naturally drifts from Krishna Katha to Gramya Katha, through war Katha, to stock market Katha. And and then we don't realize it. And then it's of no value. But these personalities that I mentioned, Narad Muni and Yudhisthira Maharaj, Narad Muni and Vasudev, Krishna and Uddhav, Sutta Goswami and the sages of Nemi Saranya, they were all eager. Can you imagine the eagerness that Parikshit Maharaj would be having to hear? Here I am going to die in 7 days. I want to hear. I don't want anything else. I could have got anything I wanted. Because I am the king. I have a lot of wealth. I could have got whatever I wanted. But he decided that I want to just sit and hear. So there's a conversation. And because he was intensely hearing, Sukadeva Goswami says many times in the Bhagavatam, because you are hearing so nicely, Parikshit, I am inspired to speak so nicely. Krishna is inspiring me to speak more intensely because of your intense hearing. And that is what Krishna consciousness is all about. To be eager to come together and discuss Krishna Katha. How important, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day, every single day, without fail, would go to Gadadhar Pandit. And he would not go there to speak. He would go there to sit and hear Bhagavatam. Every day, they would converse. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, please speak more, speak more. Conversation with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami. And they met at Prayag. And that became the very basis of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the Upadeshamrita. The whole books are based on their conversations. The discussion between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. The most elevated discussion, right from the basic of Krishna consciousness to Radha Pada Dasyam. The discussion between Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The discussion between Sanatana Goswami and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 1 month. The discussion between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Prakashananda Saraswati in Varanasi. These conversations are so important that they become the very basis of the books that we've all worshipped. Chaitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Updeshamrita. And then of course in our contemporary times we have book Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. We have, who is this Prabhuji? Who was answering this question? Anyway, so one devotee asked these questions and Prabhupada was replying and there's a whole book. So that is the power of conversations. And now in this verse, what we are seeing is that it is explained that Dhritarashtra, because this is the prelude before Vidura and Maitreya's meet. So there's a background being created that how did Vidura leave his kingdom? And then, Vidura is explaining that the Dhritarashtra was such an obnoxious person that he, what is it? The king did not forbid his son Dushasana's abominable action of grabbing the hair of Draupadi, the wife of the godly king Yudhisthira, even though her tears washed the red dust on her breast. So this was the most heinous, most debaucherous activity that Dhritarashtra ever did. Not to stop this action of Dushasana. And through this, what we are trying to understand is that from Bhagavatam, we have two learnings. From some people, we learn what to do. And from some people, the Bhagavatam teaches us what not to do. Because while we are supposed to do what we want to do, we also have to parallelly resist ourselves from not doing things that we are not supposed to do. Right? So it's always like that do Krishna Katha, but don't do Prajalpa. So it's both the things always there. Krishna Katha, no Prajalpa. So from Dhritarashtra, he plays a wonderful example, a powerful example to teach all of us what? Not to do. So what was the mentality of Dhritarashtra, Maharaj? Dhritarashtra, by the way, I said, what is the name of the meaning of the name Dhritarashtra? One who holds on to a kingdom. Uska matlab, naam ka hi matlab hai. Dhritarashtra. I mean, I was surprised. Right from childhood, he was given this name. Upendra Prabhu, amazing, right? I mean, Dhritarashtra, the one who holds on to kingdom. Rashtra means kingdom. Dhrid, pakad ke rakhne ka. That was Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra Maharaj, he always felt from beginning that he always had what is called bitterness in his heart from beginning, that I was not handled properly. I deserved the kingdom, but it was given to my brother. Now, my dear friends, I'm sure if you search your heart right now, I'm not going to ask you, but search your heart right now, all of us, without a doubt, will have some sort of bitterness in our heart for something that has happened to us. Something that should have happened but didn't happen. We all have that bitterness. Some people, who said, I should have got 90% in 10th. I didn't get it. And the worst thing is, I didn't get it, it's fine, but he got it. So there's a bitterness. I'm giving a very, very simple example, but I'm sure this has various multi-dimensional, effects. Multi-dimensional situations in our lives where we have multiple bitternesses in our life. Right? Every day there's some bitterness. Why? Because we are constantly wanting to have things that we don't have and protect things that we have lost. So that is exactly Gita says the possibility nahi hai, because you will obviously lose what you have and you obviously will not have everything that you want. So there's bound to be bitterness. So this bitterness is very dangerous, but if there's bitterness, we can manage it. But many times what we do, and I use this word with understanding that we try to ferment that bitterness. What is fermentation of bitterness? You know what is ferment? Like, you have a dough, you put some fermenting agents, the dough becomes big, boom, 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 boom. It starts overflooding sometimes. You have seen dosa and whatever. It just becomes fermented. Ladies, I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. It just ferments it. You put some fermenting agent. So what we do, unfortunately, Prabhus, is that we start fermenting our bitterness in our heart and we start making it grow. We start developing such intense revenge in our heart for somebody or some people or some situation. Sounds familiar? Yes or no? Yes? And that's exactly what Dhritarashtra did. He had some good sense. But the moment he could start thinking good sense, this fermented bitterness overpowered him. He said, "No, I will not allow this to happen. I will not give this kingdom to the Pandavas because I didn't get it. I will not give it to the Pandavas. My children should get it." Sounds familiar? Right? If we have not got it, we will make sure that people with whom we feel connected, they should get it. And that will give rise to tremendous bitterness, my dear friends. And that's what Dhritarashtra did. He constantly was behaving in a way which was very atrocious to the Pandavas because he had that fermented bitterness. As devotees, Prabhus, please let us let loose of that bitterness. Don't ferment your bitterness. Otherwise, your heart is going to become a place of intense negativity, like the heart of Dhritarashtra. We all have little Dhritarashtras in our heart. Don't think that Dhritarashtra is only in the Bhagavatam and he said, oh, he was there, I'm just hearing and I say, yeah, he should have not been like that. But it is there in all our hearts, my dear friends. We all have that portion of Dhritarashtra, which is nothing but that fermented bitterness that we are trying to grow. Until the time you do not kick out that bitterness, Krishna will not grow in your heart, because he will not come to the place where there is negativity. Divyat Brindaranya Kalpatrumada Shiman Ratnagar Singhasanastau Shri Radha Shila Govinda Deva Presthali Bi Sevya Manosmarani. That Krishna will come to the place which is Singhasana, the heart should be filled of Singhasan. Singhasan should be made of all positive devotional qualities, and in that Singhasan we can install Radha and Krishna in our heart. They are not going to come to the heart which is filled with fermented bitterness, which is filled with revenge desires, which is filled with ambition, which are filled with private desires in our hearts. And that's all of us are harboring those things, and we do not want to let loose of them. They are very subtle and very deep in our hearts. You agree? It's not easy to get it out. The Dhritarashtra syndrome is not easy to get it out. So we learn from Dhritarashtra, because we do not want to be the agent of destruction like Dhritarashtra was. But if we do harbor this tendency of Dhritarashtra, we will be in a smaller or a bigger way agents of destruction. And that's what he caused. Prabhupada was very categorical in this purport. He says, so actually the cause of the war was not the Pandavas, but the Kauravas. He says it so clearly. He wanted to establish very clearly. Prabhupada says it. The cause of the war was Kauravas. And most of the Kauravas, the person who was the head of the Kauravas was Dhritarashtra. It was not even Duryodhana who was so much of a cause. But Dhritarashtra kept on fueling him. So Prabhu, please understand, from Bhagavatam, we just don't read the Bhagavatam and we say, oh yeah, Dhritarashtra did this, not good. But we go deep in our hearts as we read this and see, okay, what do I learn today from Bhagavatam? What is Bhagavatam teaching me today? And we see that, yes, Bhagavatam is teaching us not to have this Dhritarashtra syndrome. The another aspect of Dhritarashtra is the poor me syndrome. Poor me, Bichara me. Right? We many times say, the poor me syndrome is good if it is positive. It gives help in humility. That I'm very ordinary, but if it is positively oriented, then it will give rise to tremendous enthusiasm to be better than what you are now. So the poor me is good. Trinadapi Sunichena is all about poor me. That I am just more fallen than a blade of grass. That's how useless I am. But that poor me syndrome, that ordinariness, should give rise to positive enthusiasm for devotional service. But that poor me, if gives rise to, which is negatively oriented, it will give rise to, as I said, competition and revenge. Poor me, mere Lisa, he did this to me, I will show him. So this is a problem. Many times we carry this feeling of poor me. People don't understand me, what to do. Bechara. But that is not conducive to Krishna consciousness. Are you getting it? So this is another feeling, and that's why we should be avoiding this whole tendency of poor me syndrome, or Dhritarashtra syndrome. The second thing that Bhagavatam is teaching us, that is that all of us, we all do have the Viduras in our life who will give us good counsel. We all have them. Krishna has provided all of us with the Viduras. But if you turn a blind eye, of course, literally, Dhritarashtra turned a blind eye. He was blind, right? So this is a phrase in English. To turn a blind eye means to ignore. But Dhritarashtra literally ignored it. He turned a blind eye. He didn't listen to Vidura's instruction, and then he saw what happened. If he would have listened to Vidura, his 100 sons would have been saved. They went to such agony. Can you imagine 100 sons being brutally, ruthlessly, mercilessly killed by one person? And they're getting news every day. 25 log 25 children got killed today. 12 children killed. Can you, how horrible it was? Why? Because they didn't listen to the counsel of Vidura. Dhritarashtra, if would have listened. I said, please, Vidura is saying, Dhritarashtra, enough. They are just asking for 5. And Krishna came as a messenger. He said, you know what? They don't want any kingdom. They just want 5 villages. Absolute bargain. Last. Just 5, 1 village for each. And Dhritarashtra was sort of heading towards saying yes. Chalo yaar, kadam. Duryodhana said no. Now Dhritarashtra didn't have the guts, didn't have the courage. He was such a docile person. He was so much attached to his son. He couldn't speak against him. He knew it was wrong. He knew it was going to destroy. He said, no, I will not even give up land which is on the head of a needle. Krishna said, well, then be ready for a war. So please, let us all respect and recognize the Viduras in our life. The close friends. And many times these close friends, I say with all honesty, many times the people who love us the most are the people whom we want to push them the most. Our own spouses, our wives or husband. We listen to everybody in the world but not our wife. Sometimes the wife has to tell somebody else to tell us something. But wife will not, you will say, no, what are you? You don't understand. Or the husband for that matter. We don't recognize the Viduras. Dhritarashtra didn't recognize the Vidura is my brother. He is my well-wisher. He is here to safeguard my interest. But we always feel that no, he has some ulterior motive. He doesn't understand what I want. So we will ignore disaster in our life. Right? So please, we should have somebody in our life, at least one, if not more, people who give us a different perspective of life. Because we always have one perspective. But you know what? There are multiple perspectives in which we can see life is, and people are there to guide us. Please don't do this. It is not good for you. Somebody says, the first reaction usually when somebody wakes us up from chanting, Prabhuji, hey, मैं सोया किधर हूँ? How many times, at least I can tell you, 9 out of 10 times I have not accepted I am sleeping. But that person is, and then what happens? That person stops waking you up. You are lost his good wishes for you. He'll say, okay, fine, this guy doesn't accept. What has happened, Prabhu? Please understand. What has happened? You are lost a well-wisher helping you in your spiritual life. You are lost. Why? Because of your action. Right? So please, recognize the importance of Surid. Krishna is, of course, the original Surida, Sarva Bhutanam, but we have people who are Surid. Surid means people who are your well-wishers, the Vaishnavas in our community, who are there to help you. They don't have any other desires. So recognize them and be respectful to them. Lest you're going to lose well-wishers who are going to help you in your Krishna consciousness. Because please understand, this journey to the kingdom of God, you cannot travel alone. You need co-travelers who guide you on this journey. If you think you can travel this journey on your own, you are in the biggest illusion. Nobody has ever traveled on their own. They have been destroyed if they went alone. The speed breakers have broken their cars and the diversions have destroyed them. But if you have well-wishers guiding you, please don't do this. Please be careful. This is a snare of Maya. That is how you travel. With help of people. By the GPS, global positioning system. You know exactly how to go. So the Vaishnavas are the GPS. VPS, Vaishnava positioning system. So they will give you exact position. Don't do this, do this. Right? Moment you have the GPS, you know exactly what to do, right? You know in a 20 meters, you have to turn right. And there's red here, you have to expect some traffic. So Vaishnavas will tell you that. Their boss, itna jaldi nahi hoga, Hare Krishna jab karke sab chale nahi jayega. We expect, right, to become a pure devotee in 6 months. There's no fast track course, right? First time when you come to Krishna consciousness, you feel, कि यार मैं तो pure devotee है. मेरे को कुछ lust, anger, greed कुछ है ही नहीं. ये लोग क्या सब बात कर? What are you talking? Sridama Prabhu, first time you came, at least I remember when I came, I said, yeah, what are they talking about lust? I have no lust. But then the moment I'm chanting more, I said, oh my God, everything is coming out. It's a serious problem, right? So that's it. So the Vaishnavas will guide you. Don't worry, this is all process. It's a journey. And this journey will have to go with people together. And it is fun to go with people, right? You know, you help somebody, they help you like that. So we should have Viduras in our life. You agree? Find the Viduras after the class, please. If you don't. And seek their blessings and seek their help. And usually these Viduras are not necessarily people. Your spiritual master is of course your Vidura. Prabhupada is of course our Vidura. But what we are talking about is people also who are your comrades, who are your equals, who are whom we can talk to and sit with and discuss. They are your Viduras. They are your brothers. And last but not the least, most important is that if you are in a position of authority and if you do not speak against injustice, you are equally a part of a problem, even if you have not done the problem. And that's exactly what Dhritarashtra did. He did not stop Dusasan from disrobing Draupadi. That was the worst thing. No lady deserves that. There was no question of anything but stopping this idiot, debauchee, to do what he did. But he didn't do it. He just kept mum. And if you keep mum, when you are in a position of authority, again I'm highlighting, if you keep mum or you don't react, if you're in a position of authority, you will get serious sinful reactions for not speaking up or not protecting the situation. Be sure about that. Again I'm saying, not everybody can speak for everything. Sometimes you have to just, if you're in a position of authority, if you have some role to play, please, if you don't speak because of attachment, because I speak, this devotee will feel bad, so I will not speak about him, because if he feels bad, he will not give me the donation that I go for him for Janmashtami. I'm giving a very gross example, but we all have our subtle attachments to people, because of which we are not being able to be honest in our dealings with people. Dangerous. Do not let any subtle attachments stop you from being verbal to any abuse that you see if you're in a position of authority. But Dhritarashtra didn't do that. And you see the reaction. His whole family was finished. He was finished. He lost everything. Very serious reactions. Krishna gives reactions. And also, we also learn, we have a little less time, but we also learn from what not to do from Dhritarashtra, and we also learn of what we should do from the second verse, which is Yudhisthira Maharaj. There are two beautiful words describing Yudhisthira Maharaj in that verse. Ajata Shatru. Ajata Shatru and Satya Vilambhi. Ajata Shatru means two meanings. One who does not see any enemies and of whom no enemies are born. Both the things are meaning. Uska enemy born ही नहीं हुआ है. There's nobody. The person who is his enemy born, and one who does not see anyone as his enemy. That's Ajata Shatru. And Satya Balambi means one who took shelter of truth always. This is what we should be. Very difficult, of course. Ajata Shatru it's a Paramahansa position. And how can, But we can always aspire for that, that let us see everyone as our well-wishers. I just in the morning had a small talk with a group of devotees, and we were discussing that, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Raghunath Das Goswami explains, so Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains that I do not care whether that devotee is senior or junior or equal to me. As long as he's a devotee, I love him, I care for him. Because he's a Vaishnava. That is what is the importance of Vaishnava. We can clap now. Because it's a very important statement. Because you're clapping for this brilliant Samadarshi Bhav that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami taught us. That the fact that this Vaishnava, this person has decided to follow the path of sadhana bhakti, he deserves all respect. Fine, he's dirty, that's why he's under his shower. You can't tell a person to be dirty when he's taking his bath. Right? The fact that he's taking his bath means dirty, why should he go there? Right? So all of us are dirty people. We all have anarthas. We all are under the shower. We all are getting showered and getting rid of all these anarthas. But the fact is that you have realized that you are a devotee of Krishna. You are here sitting. What is that? Bhaunam janmanam ante jnanmama prapadyante vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. So each Vaishnava is that sudurlabha manav. Each of us. And what is Vaishnava Sangam? A Sangam of all sudurlabha people. Can you imagine the power of that Sangha? That means if you just imagine, from 1 million people you pick up one person. 1 million people you pick up one person, put him here. Another 1 million people pick up one person, put him here. So the group of the 100 people picked up from 100 different groups of 1 million people. Such a rare people, right? Because you were selected from one among millions. And that's a Vaishnava. Each one of the devotees in a Vaishnava Sangam is one in millions. And that is what we need to learn from Yudhisthira Maharaj. And there's a beautiful story which showed how divine and how noble and how wise Yudhisthira Maharaj was, and how we should always learn to see the broader perspective of life. Here was a scenario where Duryodhana and Karna came to the place where the Pandavas were in forest. They wanted to trouble them. And there was I'm cutting the story short. There was a fight between the Gandharvas and Duryodhana and Karna. The Gandharvas defeated them because Duryodhana and Karna were drunk on heavy liquor. So they got defeated. And some of the soldiers from the camp of Duryodhana ran to Yudhishthira because they knew Yudhishthira Maharaj was nearby. He said, please help. They captured Duryodhana and Karna. And Bhima was saying, very good. Aisa hona chahiye. Ab pakad ke maro usko. But Yudhishthira said, no. And Bhima said, what? What no? I said, when we are between us, we are 100 and we are 5. But for the world, we are 105. Please, this is not just a mathematical statement. It's a deep, divine, wisdom-laden statement. That for the world, we might have differences with the Vaishnavas. I might not like the way he talks to me. I might not like the way he chants. I might not like the way he brushes his teeth. I might not like the way he does. So many things are there. I might not like the way he's manipulating. That's fine. We might deal with it. But for the world, we are all Vaishnava Samaj. We are all together. We will not show to the world the differences we have, because we will sort out the differences, because it's family matter. We don't wash dirty linen in public, right? That's a statement. We do not wash dirty linen in public. We don't take our matters outside. And it's so sad that many of our matters are gone outside. It's an utter failure of Vaishnava relationship. But that's a fact. And the judges are deciding for us, because we have washed dirty linen in public. It's sad. We have failed to some extent. But We must understand. Yudhisthira Maharaj said that I will protect, and he protected. And Duryodhan was so ashamed. He had some sort of a, I won't say positivity, but some sort of respectability he had. When Duryodhan came to know that Yudhisthira Maharaj protected him, he said that I cannot tolerate this. It's too much. I will die. I'll commit suicide. And he actually sat to commit suicide. And Karna and everybody at Dusasan said, no, don't do this. He was actually said, no, I cannot face myself that, my bitter enemy Yudhisthira protected me. Some sort of self-respect he had. Besharam, he was not completely Besharam. So for days, Mahabharata explains, for days he was sitting in Nirjal Prayashchit, and he was wanting to kill himself. Finally, the demons from the lower planets came. I said, hey, because they knew that Duryodhana is the only hope. Agar ye mar gaya to kuch nahi hoga, ye Krishna the Pandavas will rule. And the demons wanted negativity to spread. And this gentleman was one of the core pillars of negativity spreading, right? He said, we have to pep him up. So they came from the lower planets. I said, you know what? And they actually showed the future. Actually speaking, it is written in the Bhagavatam, in Mahabharata, they showed him that actually you are going to win the war. You are going to be the king. And that's a fact, Prabhus. As far as astrology is concerned, Mahabharata explains, the Kauravas were going to win. And the demons didn't say a lie. They were showing the truth. Because, you will have more armies, they will have less armies, they are going to be defeated. But then Bhakti-Charu Swami Maharaj explains in one of the lectures I was hearing yesterday, he said, but what to do if Krishna is on your side, everything changes. So Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki. That the demons didn't know. Demons did material calculation, astrology, Rahu, Ketu, Vedu, whatever they did. And they said, you are going to win. And Duryodhan got fired up. Yeah, wow, if I'm going to win. So he came out of his moroseness from this thing, and he said, okay, he got fired up. And the demons got fired up. So even now, Prabhus, it is explained that even the negative energy, the lower planet personalities, they can make any one of us as agents to spread negativity. Please understand. That's how negativity spreads. There are negative energies which affect us. That's a different subject matter. But anyway, Yudhisthira Maharaj's principle is, we are talking about, is that how he was Sattva-avalambi. He said he was Ajata Shatru. That as far as we are concerned, he had a broad thinking. That we are 105 and I'll protect. It requires a tremendous broad-heartedness to do what he did. So this is exactly what we learned from Yudhisthira Maharaj, from Dhritarashtra, from Duryodhan. And Krishna will always reciprocate with us the way we deal with each other. And for the next few minutes, we want to, this month of Kartik, and we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. And one of the wonderful things to achieve from discussing Srimad Bhagavatam is to understand the personality of Lord Shri Krishna. And especially in the month of Kartik, to really understand what our Lord is, because of course you can never understand the Lord. He is just unlimited, but we can try. And I found this very interesting. I was reading this couple of months back, and I found this very interesting, how Krishna is so perfect and so amazing in reciprocating with his devotees. Now many of us, I'm sure all of us, I know I have been accused of not sufficiently reciprocating with people. Have you been accused? कि आप reciprocate नहीं करते हो. How much I love you, but you don't reciprocate. How many of us, we've been accused, right? Yet, husband wives will say more like this. Yes. Yeah? And friends, we said we are not able to adequately reciprocate. Why? Because number one, we are limited in our understanding. We forget things also. Na? we are bothered with so many things, we forget what this person has done for us. But can you imagine, I was just analyzing what a personality Krishna is. He knows past, present and future. He knows everything that you have done. And he is all knowledgeable. So what capacity he has to reciprocate with his devotees. Can you imagine? He knows everything. So you will understand and you will get so much convinced that this Krishna who is standing in front of us, Radha Krishna, they will reciprocate because they have such profuse capacity to reciprocate. So here is the pastimes of Krishna entering Mathura. Now here is the situation where Krishna was in Vrindavan for so many 10 years or 11 years, and just he left Vrindavan and he's still in the Vrindavan mood. He has not yet gone into the Mathura mood, but he just came to Mathura, right? He's been invited by Kamsa, Akrura gets him and he comes to Mathura. And as he comes to Mathura, I'm just running fast. I just have a short time, but I don't want to miss this. So he comes to Mathura, and the first person he sees is a washerman. A washerman is there, and he sees the washerman, and the washerman is very angry. And when Krishna sees this washerman, now please understand why I'm saying this. Krishna is knowing past, present and future. Moment Krishna saw that washerman in Mathura, he said, "Oh, I know this man. This man was the same washerman when I was in Ram Leela, and he was the one who spoke that how can Sita be taken as chaste when she has stayed in quote unquote somebody else's house." This is the same person who had the cancer of blasphemy. This is the word used by our acharyas. He had that cancer of blasphemy because the cancer spread. Because when he spoke, all the Ayodhyavasis spoke. Right? Yeah, barabar. How can Sita be? But he started with this fellow. So this person had that cancer, and Krishna said, "Oh, this is a washerman." And Krishna knew. See, this is the power of Krishna. You don't know what this person in the previous life, right? Krishna knows it. So Krishna saw this person, and this person still had that cancer. And Krishna and Balram said, "Please give us some clothes." And this washerman said, "Hey, go away, you rascal! How dare you ask for the clothes which belongs to the king? You are a useless person. You are an impudent child. You better leave right now, otherwise I'll call the soldiers." And then he spoke something so disgusting. He said, "I've heard all about your unseemingly dealings with the gopis of Vraj. I do not think that this city is lawless like the land of Vraja. There is law here, and Kamsa will punish you." So he blasphemed the Lord again. He said, "I know what sort of a low-class person you are. I know what you have done with the gopis. And you were staying in Vrindavan. There is no law there. But don't expect no law to be here in Mathura. Kamsa is the king and he will..." And Krishna said, "Hey, enough, man. This is enough." Now Krishna also has this limit, right? So Krishna does with his fingers. He just touched it and he killed him. And it is explained that according to Brahma Vaivarta Puran, this is proof. Brahma Vaivarta Puran says that this person was such a blasphemous person, not in one life, but in lifetimes. But the fact that Krishna killed him, he achieved Goloka Vrindavan. Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki. So Krishna is never reciprocating with some negativity in his heart. Krishna said, he has to be dealt with it, but ultimately he awards him Goloka Vrindavan. So Krishna was reciprocating with this person, and then as Krishna was walking, he took all the clothes and he told all his coward friends, these clothes were sent by the king, please take whatever you want. So they were in fun, they picked up as if they were in the tailor store, Then you go to a Raymond's showroom and take whatever you want. So what will you all do, right? You take this t-shirt and this thing. they had a gala time, and Gawad boys, they just want fun, right? I mean, they're still in the Vrindavan mood. They're in Mathura, but they're still having the fun mood, right? So they brought out the stones, and as they were walking, then came a weaver who weaves clothes and makes ornaments. And it is explained, Jiva Goswami explains, this weaver had great attachment to the Lord. But out of fear, he could not go and see the Lord in Vrindavan. He was staying in Mathura. But he heard about the Lord from the different weavers who went to Vrindavan and came back. So again, the power of hearing. Just by hearing, not seeing the Lord, just hearing about Him, he developed such attachment to the Lord. And finally, when he came to know the same Lord that he was waiting for, He is here in Mathura, is explained in the exact word. He threw caution to the wind. Nice English. The Acharyas explained. He just threw the caution. He said, I don't care now. To hell with it. I will just go and meet Krishna. And he met Krishna, and when Krishna saw him, what happened? So Krishna scans him. Oh, who is this person? Who was he? He was the weaver in Mithila. And he was told to weave the clothes of Ram and Lakshman for the marriage with Sita. So he was given the order of making the costumes for Ram. But in his heart, as he was making the costumes, he was saying that I'm making the clothes, but I want to put it on the Lord also. But his desire was not fulfilled that time. So again, what I said originally, the Lord is always reciprocating with His devotees. His job description of the Lord also has a job description, right? What is the job description of Krishna? To reciprocate with devotees. That's it. One line. That's his job description. And so he knew that this person was the same weaver who actually had weaved, but he had desired to put it on me. So Krishna went to him. And he said, okay, please stitch clothes for me. So he already had clothes. He made clothes for Krishna and put it for Krishna. And he actually made Krishna wear the clothes, which was his desire. And it's explained here that because of the Lord glanced on the weaver. Very interesting. Please hear it with attention. When the Lord glanced on the weaver, the beauty of the Lord was transformed. This weaver became as beautiful, Sarupya, as beautiful as the Lord. And this transformation was such unprecedented, the Acharyas explained, it was such an unprecedented transformation that the Gopas who had seen Krishna doing wonderful miracles all the time for the last 11 years, he did so many miracles. He killed the Keshi demon and he saw the miracles. But this transformation was unprecedented, the transformation of the weaver, and it is attributed to the living proof of what absorption in Krishna can do and how it can transform you. I loved this point. The weaver was so absorbed in Krishna that Krishna reciprocated. And the transformation of his whole mentality, his whole bodily features, everything was so transformed. And this is the power of absorption in the Lord. And how do we absorb ourselves? By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So please, my dear friends, let us all really get convinced that slowly, it may not happen overnight, but slowly but surely, our hearts are getting transformed. When you are absorbed in the Lord's holy names, absorbed in the Lord's service, absorbed in hearing Krishna Katha, So the transformation will happen, and Bhagavatam explains one fine day, you will see yourself completely transformed. Hari Bol. So this is the power of absorption of the Lord. And then as the Lord was walking, he remembered that, there is a florist here who stays nearby. What is the address? He asked somebody, where does this Sridama florist stay? They go, he is staying very close by from here. I said, so Krishna personally walked to his house. Krishna, Balram and all the coward boys, he walked. He was not on the road. He found the address and he walked. Now, Sudama was a gardener in the kingdom of Kuvera, and his name was Hemamali, not Hemamalini, okay? Hemamali. No? And for 5,000 years he worshipped Lord Shiva with 300 lotus flowers every day. For 5,000 years he worshipped Lord Shiva with 300 lotus flowers every day, just praying what? That I can see Krishna face to face. He was praying continuously, every day, consistently. Please understand, it must not be easy for him to have 300 lotuses every day for 5,000 years worshipping. Consistency. Lord Shiva said, so be it. Lord Shiva said, for a change, somebody has asked a good benediction from me. Otherwise people come ask all crazy things from me. But you are asked to worship Krishna, so be it. Krishna will personally come to see you. So Krishna had to fulfill his desires. Krishna had to do what? Reciprocate with this devotee. So Krishna personally came to his house, and this person, can you imagine, Prabhu? I mean, I'm just trying to give you a perspective. Nowadays we all have our doors, we have our doorbell, right? And we are in the house and the doorbell ring, ting, 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 and you open the door. And you just imagine if Radha Gopinath is standing there. Can you imagine? I mean, you are getting shivers right now, right? If you open the door and they are standing like this. Oh. Shivram, how are you? If the Lord will say. And you will be like in ecstasy. That's exactly what happened to Sudama. He was in his house and Krishna comes walking to his house. It is not different, Prabhu. This is exactly what happened. Krishna came walking to his house and he was dumbfounded. He was eager to see the Lord, and Lord comes running to his house and he says, this half-made garland which you have made, make it full and put it on me. And Sudama is in ecstasy. He makes the other half of the garland, and then he makes another garland for Balramji, and he puts it personally on the Lord. And this is how Krishna reciprocated with Sudama. And Sudama was in complete ecstasy to receive their great mercy. And last, we have got, I'm already over time, but 5 minutes more. Organizers, Shivaram Prabhu, please 5 minutes more. So the last is Krishna reciprocating with a very special personality. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this personality, Kubja, she is nothing but the partial expansion of the internal energy, Bhu-Shakti, Satyabhama, which the internal energy of Satyabhama, which is Bhu-Shakti, is called Prithvi. Prithvi is nothing but the expansion of Satyabhama, who is the Bhu-Shakti. And Kubja is expansion, is a manifestation of Bhu-Shakti, and her crippled body, her Trivikra form, shows the burden that the earth was in because of the multitude demons that were there. And she was carrying sandalwood and beautiful oils, which also was significant that what the earth planet can offer to the Lord in the form of beautiful fragrance and sandalwood to please the Lord. So that was Kubja, and Krishna saw her. And it's explained that Kubja was also... so sometimes what happens is in spiritual personalities, 2-3 different personalities come in the same form, right? We have Ramananda Rai. Ramananda Rai is Vishaka Sakhi, Arjun Sakha, and Arjun. So sometimes you wonder, aisa kaisa theme? But there 3 people can possess one body. And at the right time, they operate from that. It's absolutely possible. So similarly, Kubja was Prithvi, expansion. But she was also the past when Krishna saw, he remembered that she was actually Surpankha. And Surpankha was naturally attracted to Ram's beauty. And she approached Ram, and then you all know what happened in Nasik, very close to our 3 hours journey. We know what happened, right? Ram said, go to Lakshman, Lakshman said, go to Ram, and then boom, the nose was chopped off, right? And she ran, and she told Ravan about her problem, and Ravan, of course, we all know Sita was kidnapped. But while Ram was searching for Sita and the war was being fought, Surpankha went to Pushkar Tirtha and was performing intense tapasya there to achieve, to please Lord Shiva, to achieve Ram as her husband. She was doing tapasya there to achieve Ram as a husband. And so then it is explained that they said, so be it, not possible now, but in your next life, when you will come in Mathura, you will have amorous relations with Krishna. And Krishna will accept you as his devotee. And that's exactly what happened. So when Kubja came, Krishna came there, and Krishna was making fun of her. When Krishna was in fun, he said, oh, all the ladies of Mathura are so beautiful. There was like a taunt, right? And Kubja was always used to this taunt. Unfortunately, people would crack jokes on her because of her form. So, but she was so attracted to Krishna, she didn't mind anything from Krishna. So that's the nature, right? If you love somebody, whatever that person says, we are fine with it. So then the cowherd boys told that actually Kamsa should marry this lady. She's so beautiful. So they're taking jokes. But she said that I offered the best of oils and the best of grinded chandan to the king, and this is what I'm carrying. But today, I give up all my fear for the king because I'm naturally attracted to you. Please accept this ointments and chandan fragrance from me. She just gave up all her fear because she was fearful because they were meant for the king. How can she give to anybody else? And Krishna is explained by the acharyas that Krishna smeared a yellow ointment on his limbs, and Balramji smeared blue ointment on his limbs. So the acharyas explained that just imagine Krishna, who was dark complexioned, having yellow ointment, and Balramji, who was white complexioned, having blue ointment. How beautiful they must be looking. Krishna Balram dono bhaiya ki. So they applied this, and as they were walking, and then Krishna said that actually you have served us so well that you did not be in this Trivikra form. And as far as the Trivikra form which is burdened on the earth, I am come to take care of all the demons. So do not worry. You should be having a straight form now. And Kubja said, you think you can do it? Krishna said, I got some technique. He uses the word, I got some technique to do it. And Krishna, of course, puts his feet on her feet and takes his hand on her chin and pushes it up, and she gets a beautiful form of a beautiful lady. So, of course, so much to elaborate further on this, but sufficient to say that how Krishna is so beautifully reciprocating with his devotees. He has unlimited capacity to reciprocate with his devotees. And in this auspicious month of Kartik, let us all pray that we can in a small way, under the guidance of our spiritual master, in the way our dear Srila Prabhupada has taught us, that we can do our sadhana very, very nicely, and only purpose of our sadhana, only purpose of our seva, only purpose of our shravanam that we do is to really please Krishna. And we are hoping in some lifetime Krishna will recognize our effort and in very small way reciprocate with all of us. And at this note, with complete appreciation of our Lord and complete understanding our great fortune that we have got this great luxury to worship God in the most evolved form of Radha and Krishna. And this month of Kartik, we will thank Srila Prabhupada and thank our spiritual masters and thank the Vaishnavas for allowing us to be here. Thank you very, very much. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की, श्री कार्तिक मास महोत्सव की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी। हरि हरि।
हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण।